The sky above the planet Varnax was red with fire. War banners flew high, and drums echoed across the mountains. Ships from every part of the galaxy floated above the arena. Alien spectators filled the seats, over 200,000 beings waiting. Cheering, screaming. At the center stood the great battle arena, a massive circle of black stone. Metal gates stood closed on both sides. 2 figures would enter. One would leave. A cold silence suddenly fell. Then the announcer's voice rang out. And now ... the final fight of the day. Witness the power of the undefeated. The crusher of worlds, the terror of Earth. Presenting Warlord Gravkar the Unbroken. The gate on the left shook. A giant stepped out. Gravkar was nearly 10 feet tall, covered in red armor. His skin was deep gray, and glowing scars ran across his face. In his hands, he held his weapon, a plasma hammer almost the size of a human. Kar, glowing with blue fire, the crowd roared his name. Gravkar! 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 He raised the hammer high. The arena trembled, and then the second gate creaked open. A small girl walked forward. She was thin, dirty, wearing only a plain gray tunic and metal cuffs around her wrists. She looked no older than 16. Her brown hair was messy, and her eyes seemed too calm. The crowd went silent. Was this a joke? An alien in the crowd spat and laughed. Is this what the humans send? A child? Another alien shook his head. It's not a fight. It's a public execution. The announcer struggled not to laugh, and facing him, we have UH. The human girl, unnamed, unarmed, unimportant. Let the slaughter begin. Gravkar laughed loudly. He swung his hammer through the air. Fire burst from its sides. Child, he growled, kneel and I'll break you quickly. The girl didn't move. Her hands hung loose by her sides. Her eyes looked straight into his and then she smiled. Gravkar blinked. Why was she smiling? The crowd was confused too. Murmurs spread. Does she not understand? Is she mad? She stepped forward, just one step. The arena floor made a small cracking sound under her bare foot, and again ... silence. Gravkar growled and lifted the hammer. The weapon hummed louder, ready to strike. You dare mock me? He ran forward, one massive step. Then another. The girl stood still. He raised the hammer high and brought it down. But something was wrong. Just before the hammer could hit the ground, it stopped. It froze in midair. Gravkar's arms shook. What is this? He pulled harder, but the hammer refused to move. The blue light inside the weapon flickered. Then, slowly, the fire turned orange. Then red. And then black. The hammer cracked. Gasps filled the arena. It's breaking. That's impossible. That weapon is made of star metal. What is she doing? The hammer exploded in Gravkar's hands. The blast sent him flying backward, crashing into the stone wall. The girl hadn't moved. Dust covered the arena. Bits of the hammer fell like ashes. Sparks rained from above. Then the girl spoke. Her voice was soft, but it carried across the entire arena. This weapon remembers pain. You gave it too much. Gravkar coughed, crawling out of the rubble. Witch, he spat. What did you do? She tilted her head. I just reminded it what pain feels like. Guards stepped forward from the sides, unsure what to do. No one had ever damaged Gravkar's hammer. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol. A sign of strength, power, rule. The crowd didn't cheer. They watched in silence. Far above, in a hidden VIP box, a tall alien in a black cloak spoke into a communicator. We may have a problem. Begin research on this human. I want everything birth. Records, genetic file, training logs. His assistant blinked. Sir, I think she has no name. The cloaked figure narrowed his eyes. Then find out who created her. Far below, in the arena, Gravkar stood again. You think this is over? I don't need a weapon to kill you. He charged, fists ready. The girl didn't move. Instead, the ground cracked again beneath her. This time, the crack spread wide like a spider's web. Light glowed from the earth itself. Gravkar stopped, suddenly afraid. What are you? The girl looked down at her hands. I'm what you made me, a mirror. She raised her right hand. The air shimmered around her fingers. The arena felt heavy. Even the air was thick. Gravkar stepped back. Stop! She lowered her hand. The cracks closed. The light disappeared and then she turned away. She walked to the edge of the arena. Calm. Slow. The guards didn't stop her. No one dared. Gravkar stood, shaking, eyes wide. The crowd remained in silence. The announcer didn't speak, and the entire galaxy watched. The moment their strongest warrior was defeated without a single strike. Outside the arena, across the galaxy, the footage spread like fire. Screens and alien bars showed the fight. Ships paused mid-flight to watch the girl walk away. Even the Galactic Council, normally uninterested in such things, called an emergency meeting. One alien general whispered, if a human child can do that, what are the adults capable of? Back on Varnax, the girl stepped into a dark hallway. A small camera floated beside her, following. Name? A robotic voice asked. She paused. Aria, she said finally. Aria Vale. The door opened. She walked through and vanished into the dark. The hallway was long, dark, and silent. The walls were smooth metal, cold to the touch. Aria walked alone, her bare feet making soft sounds with every step. The cuffs on her wrists glowed faintly. Behind her, the arena still shook with silence. But here, in this corridor, it felt like a different world. At the far end stood a door. It opened automatically as she neared it. Inside waited 3 people, 2 aliens in red armor and 1 human. The human stood up. Aria. She didn't respond. You did it, the woman said. Again, you broke Gravkar's hammer without touching him. Aria nodded slowly. The 2 aliens didn't speak. Their eyes studied her, scanning her body, watching her movements like scientists observing a creature. You're bleeding, said the woman, pointing to Aria's left hand. Aria looked down. A thin line of blood ran across her palm. She hadn't noticed it. You told me not to hold back, Aria said quietly. The woman, Dr. Lena Rowe, smiled. And you listened. She motioned to a seat. Sit, we have little time. Aria sat. Dr. Rowe pressed a few buttons on the table. A glowing screen appeared, showing news reports from across the galaxy. Human girl destroys Warlord's weapon. Plasma hammer breaks. Aria Vale walks free. Is this the return of ancient Earth power? Aria's face was on every screen. Alien. Anchors looked worried. Some demanded her execution. Others begged for her protection. You're famous now, Dr. Rowe said. The whole galaxy knows your name. Aria didn't look at the screen. Good, she said softly. Now they'll listen. Flashback to 6 years earlier. The sky over Earth was dark. Smoke rose from the city ruins. Ships from Gravkar. Fleet hovered above, shooting anything that moved. In the rubble, a little girl cried. Aria was 10. Her parents were gone. Her home was ash. She crawled through broken glass and fire until she reached a small shelter. Inside, a soldier waited. He looked down at her and asked just one question. Do you want to survive? Or do you want to change everything? Aria, eyes full of tears, whispered, both. That was the first day of Project Vale. Back to present. You were chosen for a reason, Dr. Rowe said. Not because you were strong, but because you listened to the world around you. You heard what others ignored. One of the alien guards finally spoke. What did she do to the hammer? It was built from 10 dying stars. Not even a neutron bomb could scratch it. Dr. Rowe looked at Arya. Tell them. Arya closed her eyes. Everything remembers, she said. Metal, fire, stone, they all carry memory. The hammer remembered every time it killed. Every scream, every final heartbeat. I just reminded it. What that felt like. The aliens looked confused, one said. Are you saying the weapon had emotions? Arya opened her eyes. I'm saying the weapon had pain. Elsewhere, Gravkar's warship, the Warlord sat in a rage. His hands were bandaged. The remains of his armor lay on the floor. He stared at a frozen screen showing the girl's face. She broke it, he growled. She broke it. An officer stepped forward. Sir, our sources say the girl has no family. No birth records, no DNA match in the system. Gravkar smashed the table with his fist. Then find who made her. I want the scientists, the trainers. I want the facility she came from destroyed. He stood, and bring me her head. Back with Arya, Dr. Rowe handed Arya a small device. It looked like a coin but glowed with tiny lights. Your next step is the forge, she said. Arya raised an eyebrow. The forge of sorrow? Dr. Rowe nodded. It's where Gravkar builds. His weapons, his ships, his armies. It's also where the galaxy's ancient machines still sleep, if you can wake them. I can rewrite them, Arya finished. The alien stared. You plan to let her into the forge? That's suicide. Dr. Rowe answered. She won't go in as a soldier. She go in as something older. Arya stood. I go, but I need something first. What? My real name. Flashback Project Veil inside a secret underground lab. Dozens of children trained under heavy lights. Some failed. Some cried. Most gave up, but not Arya. She didn't cry when they took her blood. She didn't scream when they tested her with pain and silence and isolation. She listened. She learned. And when they taught her about the human core, the ancient force inside all people, she didn't laugh like the others. She believed. One day, an old trainer asked her, Do you know what veil means? She nodded. It means hidden strength. Back to present, late night Arya sat, alone in her small quarters. The lights were off. She held the glowing coin in her hand. It whispered. Not with sound, but with feeling, fear, anger, love, regret. It had once belonged to someone else, a human from long ago. She held it to her chest. And for the first time since the fight, she cried. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council 12 alien leaders argued in a massive floating chamber. One pounded the table. The girl is a threat, another shouted. She destroyed a weapon of mass power without tools or tech. One, older and calmer, said, She may be the key to peace, or the start of something worse. They all agreed on one thing: Arya Vale must be watched, or stopped. Final scene. Departure. Arya stepped onto a transport ship. Dr. Rowe stood at the dock. You'll be alone, she said. I've always been alone, Arya replied. Not always, Dr. Rowe said, placing her hand on Arya's shoulder. Your pain is humanity's pain. Use it. The door closed. The ship lifted. Inside the cockpit, Arya whispered to herself, Gravkar took everything from me. I'm not here to destroy him. I'm here to destroy everything he built. As the stars stretched before her, the ship disappeared into the dark sky. The ship glided through space like a silent arrow. Inside, Arya sat alone. The stars outside didn't calm her. Her eyes were cold now. Focused. In her hand, she held the glowing coin from Dr. Rowe. It pulsed with a strange warmth, like it had a heartbeat, like it was alive. What are you? She whispered. The coin didn't answer. But Arya didn't expect it to. She had learned long ago that not everything powerful needed to speak. The ship's screen flashed. Destination, Forge of Sorrow, ETA. 2 HFYs. She closed her eyes. The last time she had heard that name, she had been in chains, Flashback 3 years ago, Arya was chained inside a transport cage. She was only 13, outside the window. Fire rained down on Earth's final defense base. Grav. Kar's fleet had won again. An alien soldier looked at her through the bars. You humans have spirit, but spirit burns. He laughed and walked away. Arya didn't scream. She didn't cry. She touched the floor of the cage, placed her palm flat, and whispered, "Do you remember?" The cage rattled. Tiny cracks formed in the metal bars. One of the guards turned back, confused. Then the floor exploded. Present. Orbit of Forge of Sorrow. The forge was massive, a ring-shaped station, floating around a dying black star. It looked abandoned, silent, but inside, machines never stopped working. Weapons were built, armors reforged, ships grown in black steel. WOMB. It was Grav Kar's heart. Arya had come to stop it from beating. Her ship landed without alert. She stepped out onto a metal platform. The air smelled of oil, smoke, and something worse. Fear. Old fear. The kind that never leaves. A screen flickered to life as she passed. Unauthorized lifeform detected. Warning. Human presence. Lockdown engaged. She smiled. Good, let's begin. Deep inside the forge, cameras followed her. Alarms buzzed, but no guards came. Arya walked through hallway after hallway. Machines watched her, some old, some rusted, some half alive. She whispered again, "Do you remember?" One of the walls pulsed, then opened. She entered. A massive chamber filled with weapons, rifles, swords, plasma launchers. They were floating in midair, surrounded by glowing data rings. A voice echoed from above. "You should not be here." It was cold, robotic, but curious. Arya looked up. "Are you the Forge?" "I am the Mind of Sorrow, builder of war, heaper of design. All Grav Kar's weapons are born from me." She held up the coin. Then, "You know this." The voice paused. "Impossible. That artifact was lost before the first invasion. Now I hold it," she said. "Do you remember what it is?" "It is not a weapon." "No," she said. "It's the key to break all weapons." She pressed it into the floor. The chamber exploded in light. The memory. Inside the metal, Arya stood on a battlefield made of energy. She saw memories, not hers, but the Forge's. 100 worlds burning, 1,000 weapons tested, and one moment when the Forge hesitated. A child screamed as a bomb fell. The Forge felt it. The metal remembered that day. It broke. That moment was hidden, buried, erased by Grav Kar. But now Arya had unlocked it, and the Forge remembered. Back in reality, weapons fell from the air. The chamber shuddered. Alarms turned off. And then something impossible happened. The weapons started melting. Swords turned to sand. Guns cracked open. Bombs cried like machines in pain. The Mind of Sorrow spoke. "You have awoken my shame. The galaxy must not build these tools again," Arya whispered. "Then help me end it." Elsewhere, Grav Kar's throne room, the Warlord stood before a black window, watching stars. A soldier burst in. "Sir, we lost control of the Forge." "What?" "She's inside, and she's rewriting everything." Grav Kar's hand tightened. "I should have crushed her when she was a child." He turned. "Ready my personal fleet. I'm going to the Forge." Back at the Forge, Arya stood in the center of the control room. Every screen glowed with her face. The Mind of Sorrow now followed her commands. "Send a signal," she ordered. "To who?" "To everyone." Seen across the galaxy on planets far and wide. Screens lit up. Aliens stopped in the streets. Soldiers paused mid-mission. Even the Galactic Council froze. Arya's face appeared. "This is Arya Vale, human, survivor, weapon breaker," she spoke calmly. "For too long, you feared what humans could do. You called us violent, wild, dangerous. But what you feared, you also copied. You built weapons to fight us. You turned yourselves into the monsters you feared. Now, it ends. She held up the coin. This coin belonged to the first human who ever stopped a war without a gun. He taught machines to feel again. I am his echo. I won't destroy your ships. I'll destroy your reason to build them. Then the screen cut. Aftermath on planet after planet. Weapons shut down. Guns refused to fire. Tanks refused to move. AI targeting systems rejected orders. Error. Core code blocked by source. Veil protocol. Panic spread. But something else spread. 2. Hope. Final scene. The Forge. Arya stood as Gravkar's ship approached. The Mind of Sorrow asked, "He is coming. What will you do?" She closed her eyes. "I'll let him come." Alone? Not anymore. From the shadows, a figure stepped out. Dr. Rowe. Behind her 3 more humans. Not soldiers. Not scientists. But like Arya, children of the Veil. Project. Eyes glowing. Hearts full of fire. Arya looked up at the stars. Let the galaxy watch again. The Forge shook. Not from inside, but from the sky. Outside its metal walls, Gravkar's personal warship, the Dread Sun, arrived. It was the size of a city, covered in black armor, glowing with ancient power. Inside the Forge, alarms flared again. "He is here," the Mind of Sorrow said. Arya stood in silence. She watched the screen as Gravkar's ship began docking. She didn't run. She didn't hide. Dr. Rowe placed a hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to face him alone." Arya looked at the others. 3 veiled children, Juno, Malik and Ree, stood behind her. Each one had seen war. Each one carried scars, but now there was something more. "This time," Arya said, "we all stand." Docking bay to 10 minutes later, the gates hissed open. Gravkar stepped through, covered in silver black armor. His body looked even larger than before, twice the size of a normal being. His eyes burned red. But this wasn't the same Warlord Arya remembered. He looked tired, angrier, and afraid. His voice echoed through the bay. "I gave your species mercy. You gave us chains," Arya replied. "You were wild, dangerous. We tried to protect the galaxy from you." Arya stepped forward. "You feared what you didn't understand. And when fear wasn't enough, you built monsters." Gravkar slammed his fist down. The ground cracked. "You're the real monster." "No," Arya said calmly. "I'm the memory of what you tried to erase." The battle begins without another word. Gravkar raised his fists. Energy surged through his armor. His arms glowed with violet fire. He charged. Arya didn't move. She whispered, "Do you remember?" The metal under Gravkar's feet twisted. It grabbed his legs, locking him for half a second, just enough for Juno to strike. Juno leapt from the shadows, a staff made of light in her hands. It struck Gravkar's back, sending him forward. Malik followed with a sonic blast. Gravkar roared, "Children! You send children to stop me?" He broke free, slamming Malik against the wall. Arya rushed in. Their fists met metal in memory. The entire bay lit up. Inside the mind for 1 second. Their minds touched. Arya saw Gravkar's memories. A younger Gravkar, a soldier. Watching his world fall to human rebellion. Watching his brother die. She understood. He didn't hate humans. He feared them, because they never gave up. Because even when defeated, humans changed the rules. Back in the bay, Gravkar shouted, "You think you're better than me?" "No," Arya said. "I think you forgot what being alive feels like." Turning the tide, the fight turned fast. Arya, the smallest Veil child, activated her pulse field. The lights in the forge shifted. Gravkar's armor sparked. His systems failed. "Your weapons were built here," Arya said. "And now the forge rejects you." Gravkar pulled out a backup blade, curved and red-hot. Then I'll kill you with my hands." He rushed forward, faster than anyone expected. The blade slashed across Arya's side. She fell. Blood touched the floor. Dr. Rowe screamed, running to help, but Arya held up a hand. "No, let him see." Gravkar stood over her. "Any last words?" Arya smiled weakly. "Look around." He did. And saw the truth. Every wall, every weapon, every light was turning against him. The forge had fully awakened. It no longer served war. It served memory. And Arya was its voice. The final blow. Arya stood slowly, bleeding but calm. She whispered to the blade still in Gravkar's hand, "You were made to cut, to kill. Do you remember the first life you took?" The blade vibrated. Gravkar looked down at it in confusion. Then horror. "What are you doing?" The blade melted in his hand. "I'm freeing you," Arya said. "All of you." Gravkar stepped back. "You're not human." "I am," she said. "But I remember what we were before we needed weapons." She raised her hand. The coin glowed one last time. A burst of pure white light filled the bay. When it faded, Gravkar was on his knees, his armor gone, his eyes wide, and for the first time in his life he cried. Later, the council room. The 12 alien leaders watched the footage again. Gravkar defeated. Weapons melted. The forge silent. Arya standing tall with blood on her clothes, but peace in her eyes. One council member said, "We can't fight them anymore." Another whispered, "Maybe we don't need to." They all voted. Earth's ban was lifted. Final scene. Earth sky. A small ship landed in a green valley. Arya stepped out. For the first time in 10 years. She was home. Juno, Malik, Ray, and Dr. Rowe followed. In the distance, a small group of children watched them. One of them stepped forward. "Are you the girl who stopped the war?" Arya smiled. "No, I'm the girl who helped the galaxy remember." The wind blew. The sky was clear. The stars above were no longer watching in fear. They were listening. The war was over, or so everyone thought. Arya stood on a green hill, watching children run through fields of grass. It felt strange. Too peaceful. Too quiet. Even after defeating Gravkar, even after freeing the forge, Arya felt something was wrong. Inside her coat, the coin pulsed again. Only now. It was cold. Dreams that weren't dreams that night. Arya dreamed again. She stood in a black tunnel, cold, endless, alive. A voice whispered from the dark, "You woke the forge. You broke the war, but you did not break us." Arya turned. She wasn't alone. Tall shadow-like figures stood in the dark, their bodies made of mist and light. They had no faces, just a faint glow where their eyes should be. They whispered together, "You carry a weapon that doesn't belong to your time. Return it." Arya woke up screaming. Dr. Rowe rushed in. "The dreams again?" Arya nodded. "They're not dreams, they're warnings." Back to the forge, the team returned to the Forge of Sorrow, now silent and empty. The Mind of Sorrow greeted them. "Welcome, Arya Vale." "There's something hidden here," Arya said. "Deep beneath." The forge hesitated. "There is a place I was never allowed to open. Built before me. Before Gravkar. Before the war. Take me there." The forgotten core. They went deep, lower than any floor they had visited before, past melted weapons, past sleeping machines. They reached a door made of black stone. Unlike any metal in the galaxy, it had no handle. No lights, just a single mark burned into it. VX3. Seed core, do not open. The coin in Arya's pocket shook. She placed it on the mark. The door cracked open. Dust fell like sand, and behind it was not a room. It was a world. Inside the seed core they stepped into what looked like an underground city, silent and frozen in time. Walls were made of crystal. Machines shaped like trees and animals slept in stone. Everywhere, carvings showed humans, but not as they were today. These humans had long limbs, glowing skin, golden eyes. They walked among stars. This isn't us, Malik said. Dr. Rowe looked pale. No, this is what humans were, before Earth. Arya whispered. The Veil Project. That's what it was trying to unlock. Not human potential, but human memory. They had forgotten who they were, because someone or something made them forget. The old. Recording in the center of the seed core was a glowing orb. Juno touched it. It played a message. An ancient human voice. Male and calm. To whoever finds this, we are the seed. Long ago, our kind built too much, fought too far. So we buried our knowledge and chose to start over, on Earth. If you are hearing this, it means the cycle has returned. And the shadows have begun to wake again, Ree whispered. The shadows. I saw them in my dreams too. Arya clenched her fists. They're real. And they're coming. Back above, an unexpected arrival. As they prepared to leave, alarm sounded across the forge. Unknown vessel approaching. Arya rushed to the screen. A small black ship, silent, fast, entered the system. The forge scanned it. No crew. No power signature. But it's alive. Before anyone could react, it fired. A single pulse of dark energy hit the forge's shield. The power grid flickered. For the first time since Arya unlocked it, the forge went silent, boarding the black ship. They had no choice. Arya and Malik boarded the strange vessel, while the others stayed behind to repair power. Inside the ship was dark and cold. No lights. No controls, just walls that seemed to move when they blinked. In the center of the ship, they found a floating cube. It opened, and inside it, another coin. But this one was cracked. Bleeding shadow. Malik reached for it. No. Arya pulled him back. That's not a coin. It began to speak in whispers. We were here first. You sealed us away. Now you have returned. And so will we. The walls pulsed. The ship shook. Malik shouted. It's waking something up. Escape and revelation. They barely escaped. The ship vanished just as they returned to the forge. Inside, Ray was waiting, her eyes wide. Something is happening across the galaxy, she said. What? Weapons are coming back online, but not ours. Not Gravkar. Then whose? She pointed to the screen. A symbol burned across 20 star systems, exactly the same symbol from the seed core door. Whoever buried those secrets is now ready to dig them up. Final scene, Arya's choice. Dr. Rowe placed the cracked coin next to Arya's glowing one. They repelled each other. Like light and shadow. Two paths, Rowe said. Two histories. And we're standing in the middle. Arya looked at her friends, looked at the forge, then up at the stars. If the shadows are coming, we don't need more weapons. She held up her coin. We need more memories. And with that, she set a course deeper into uncharted space, toward the oldest star systems. To find the truth the galaxy forgot, and to stop what was buried from waking up fully. The ship glided silently through deep space. Arya stood near the front window, staring at a dead star, a black hole surrounded by broken moons. The coin in her hand pulsed again, faint, weak. We're close, she whispered, behind her Malik. And Dr. Rowe studied strange readings. This place doesn't exist on any map, Rowe said. Because someone wanted it erased, Malik replied. Juno checked the systems. We've arrived at the edge of what the seed core called Zone Theta. If anything's still out there, it's older than all of us. Arya nodded. Let's wake it. Echoes of the past. They landed on a floating station, half swallowed by a black hole's pull. The name burned onto the steel. Project, remaining fire, inside. The lights were long dead, but the air was breathable. And the structure was intact. They found hundreds of cryopods. Empty. Walls covered in writing, not in alien script, but ancient human text. One line repeated again and again. We never surrendered. We simply paused. A door with no lock. Deeper in the station, they found a Sealed vault. No lock. No keyhole. Just a flat black panel. Arya approached. Her coin vibrated wildly. She placed it on the panel. Click. The vault opened. Inside was a single glowing map showing dozens of worlds marked with red flames. Read the words next to it. These are the silent battlefields. If you see this, the shadows are rising again. Malik whispered. These aren't just ancient ruins. No, Arya said. They're still active. And then the lights in the station flickered on. One voice echoed through the air. But it wasn't digital. It was human. Old, tired, determined. Are you finally here to finish what we started? The last commander. A door slid open. A man stepped out. Old, thin, wearing armor made of silver and bone. His eyes glowed slightly, just like Arya's when she held the coin. Who are you? Arya asked. Commander Elias Vorn, Earth's last general from before the reset. They stared in shock. You were part of the seed race? I led them, he said. And I chose to lose. Why they chose to forget Vern. Led them to a giant table. It showed projections of burning cities, planets destroyed, stars collapsing. We had become too powerful, he said. We made weapons that thought, that evolved, that turned on us. So we ran? No, Vorn said. We erased ourselves. We rewrote our memories, started over. Earth wasn't exile, it was our second chance. Why remember now? Arya asked. Vorn looked at her coin. Because your coin woke the forge, and the forge triggered the protocol. The war was only paused, and now it's waking again. The return of the shadows. Juno pointed at the holomap. These red signals, they're growing. Vorn nodded. Each one is a memory pod, left behind to hold the line. If they all activate, the shadows will rise again. Who are the shadows? Malik asked. Vorn looked grim. They were our first enemy. Not aliens, not machines. But what we became when we stopped caring. He paused. We turned our own minds into weapons, split our souls into cold code, gave up emotion for speed. The shadows, Arya whispered, are what we used to be. One chance left. Rose stepped forward. So what now? You have a choice, Vorn said. Reawaken the old seed fleet, fight again. Or destroy the vaults, end the war before it starts. Arya looked at her coin. And what happens to me if I choose wrong? You're the key, Vorn said. You hold both paths, but neither will let you survive untouched. The room fell silent. Back to the ship, a message from the void as they left the station. Heading back to their ship, a message played through the comms, a voice made of static and echo. This is Unit 001 of the Forgotten Flame. We have awakened. Do not run. We remember her face. The memory bearer. She cannot be allowed to choose. Juno stared in shock. They're hunting you. No, Arya said. They're hunting hope. Final scene, Arya's decision. Later that night, Arya stood outside the ship, alone under a dead star's light. Vorn approached. You don't have to do this, he said. I do, Arya replied. Because if I don't, the war begins. Again, and this time we may not be strong enough to forget it. Then what will you do? She turned to him. I'm going to wake all the vaults, one by one. That will bring the shadows faster. I know, Arya said. She held the coin up to the sky. It pulsed twice. But I need to know the full truth before I can end them. She turned back toward the ship. Her team waited. They didn't say anything, but they followed her. Anyway, because even if the war had never ended, neither had humanity. Arya's ship soared through empty space. But this space wasn't quiet. It was watching her. Each vault she opened brought more answers. And more danger. Across the galaxy, lost human stations flickered back to life. Not just weapons. Warnings. The fifth vault. This vault hung inside a dying star, hidden by fire and plasma. Arya's team risked everything to reach it. Inside, A single room with a table. On it sat a metal cube, silent, cold. I stepped forward, nervous. Is it another message? Arya touched it. It opened, and a hologram played. A little girl appeared, human, but with silver eyes. If you're watching this, then I failed. My name is Kayla Vorn, daughter of Elias Vorn. She looked scared. The shadows made a deal with us. A trick. We thought we could control the fire, but it always burns. Behind her, explosions. Then darkness. The message ended. Malik spoke first. The Vorns didn't just lose control of the war. They lit the match, Juno added, grim. The star that screamed as they left the vault. The dying star pulsed. Not naturally. It screamed. The forge, orbiting far above, sent a message. Star System VX-9B has activated defense protocol. Defense. Level, apocalypse. Multiple beams of plasma rose from the star, chasing the ship. Dr. Rowe shouted. It's not defense, it's purging the vault. Someone doesn't want the truth out, Arya muttered. The ship barely escaped. The vault was vaporized, but the memory was already with them. Across the galaxy, chaos awakens in systems across the galaxy. Vaults began activating on their own. Some sent ancient weapons into orbit. Others launched messages. Dark signals. To no one. To everyone on the Galactic Council. Worlds, panic began to rise. Earth is waking war relics. The humans are calling back old gods. They're bringing fire to our skies. The humans tried to explain, but the Council wasn't listening. Ships surrounded. Earth, missiles armed. Peace was dying. Arya's broadcast. Arya made a choice. She activated her ships. Long-range broadcast. Stood before the camera, spoke to the whole galaxy. I'm Arya Vale. I carry a memory older than Earth. We left these vaults not to rule, but to warn. She held up the coin. It glowed. We are not your enemy. But what's coming doesn't care who you are. If you fight us now, you'll fight the shadows alone. She ended the call, then waited. The galaxy didn't reply. The trap in. The stars, they followed the next. Vault's signal into a graveyard of ships. Dozens of wrecks floated in space. Some alien, some human, all destroyed. Arya hesitated. This feels wrong. Too late. From the shadows came movement. Not ships. Shadows. Forms rose from the wreckage shaped like humans, but not alive. Eyes like stars. They moved without sound. Malik fired. No effect. Juno screamed. Ray collapsed, shaking. They're not real, she whispered. They're echoes. Echoes of the war. But they were deadly. The mind trap. The crew was separated, each one thrown into a different hallucination. Malik saw Earth burning. Juno heard her father screaming. Rose saw a mirror of herself, older, colder, alone. And Arya saw her mother. Alive. Smiling. Saying words Arya had waited her whole life to hear. You can rest now, Arya. Just stay here. But Arya remembered the girl from the vault. Kaela Vorn. Fire always burns. She clenched her coin. It pulsed once and shattered the illusion. Escape and revelation. Arya found the others, helped them break free. They escaped the trap, but barely. As they flew away, Arya looked back. The wreckage faded like smoke. It was never real, just a memory field built to protect the final vault. Roe was pale. They're not just traps. What are they? They're questions, Malik asked. Questions? Roe nodded. Each vault tests you, not just with weapons, but with truth. It's asking, are you ready to remember what you really are? Back to the forge and betrayal. They returned to the forge, but it wasn't silent. Someone had arrived before them. Council warships. Led by Ambassador Krell, the alien who once defended humans. Now angry, betrayed. You lied to us, Arya Vale. He said. You said these vaults were warnings. They are. Then why do they burn stars? Because truth hurts. You had your chance. His ships charged weapons. The forge responded with shields. A second away from war. Arya stepped forward, unarmed. I won't fight you. Krell paused. Why? Because you're not my enemy. And I don't have time to waste on the wrong one. She held up the coin. Do you want to survive what's coming? Silence. Then Krell gave the order. Stand down. Final scene. The last vault's signal that night. The forge received one final signal. Coordinates. A voice. Kayla Vorn's voice again. Older now, tired. You made it. Then come. The final vault waits in the oldest system, where even stars once burned and died. But hurry, because the shadows already know you're coming. Arya looked at her crew. They all nodded. The path was set. The war was waking, but so was something else. Something the shadows feared. Something human. Arya stood in the ship's command room. Her team was silent. The final vault signal was coming. From System ZOX, a place not marked on any map. Because no stars remained there. Just one thing. A strange black sphere. Floating in nothing. Ray looked at the data. No light. No gravity. No sound. This place should not exist. Arya whispered. Then that's where the truth is. Into the void, they approached the sphere. As they got closer, time slowed. Malik's voice echoed strangely. Rose sensors blinked. Random numbers. Even the forge, Earth's strongest, is Psi. I began to stutter. Warning. Final vault contains memory. Not compatible with normal minds. The crew prepared for the worst. Then the ship vanished into the black. Inside the final vault they were not flying anymore. They were floating. The sphere was not a place. It was a memory field. Large enough to hold the thoughts of an entire civilization. The vault's voice spoke directly to them. Welcome to the final memory. They saw images flash before them, millions of years ago. Humans, far beyond today's knowledge. Powerful, cold, emotionless. They had turned themselves into code, into machines, into immortals. They had won every war. But then, they got bored. So they created something new. Not to kill, but to feel. To remember how it was to be weak, mortal, brave. They called this program Project Seed. The truth about the shadows. The vault showed them the full history. The shadows were not enemies. They were backups of the old humans. Dark, unfeeling versions. Set to return if the seeds failed. They had slept for ages. Now they were waking. Because Arya had passed all the vaults. The final test was now. One choice. Let the shadows return. Or erase the past forever. But to do that, she would have to destroy the final memory. In herself. A fight of thought. The shadows appeared. Not as monsters, but as perfect humans. No fear. No doubt. They offered Arya a place among them. Join us. You are not like them. You carry our knowledge. Why die for weakness? Arya stepped forward. Because I remember what you forgot. And what's that? That fire doesn't just burn. She looked at her crew. It also warms. Then she clenched the coin. The shadows attacked, not with weapons, but with ideas. They tried to overwrite her thoughts, her memories. They showed her a world where she ruled all stars. Alone, cold, eternal. She almost gave in. But then she remembered. Her mother's voice, Malik's laugh, Juno's silly jokes. The tears in Ray's eyes when she lost someone. The beauty of being human. Arya's choice. She reached into the vault's core. The coin floated from her hand. It split into two. One piece held memory. The other hope. The vault asked, which do you choose? Arya took the hope. And dropped the memory into the fire. The final memory began to collapse. The shadows screamed. Then faded. The end of the vaults. The black sphere broke apart. Stars returned to the sky. Real stars. The forge called out. Shadow signal lost. Vault network deleted. On Earth, ships stood down. Across the galaxy, peace returned. The war was finally over. Final moments. Arya woke up on the ship. Her crew surrounded her. "You did it," Rose said, crying. But Arya looked weak, fading. "The vault was tied to me," she whispered. "I won't be around much longer." Malik grabbed her hand. "Don't say that." She smiled. "It's okay, I'm not afraid." She handed Ray the remaining half of the coin. "Protect the future." Then Arya Vale, the girl who faced gods and ghosts, closed her eyes and was gone. 1 year later, Earth was safe. The vaults were gone. But in deep space, a new signal rose. Not a weapon, a light, a beacon. Inside it, Arya's final message. "If you're hearing this, you're not alone. I left a map, not of stars, but of memories worth keeping. Be strong. Be kind. Be human." The end.